isolation. 'Cause right now that's the ball where we betray. And if you're coming back to find me, you better have good aim. Shoot it true, I need you in the pictures while I'm calling you. Calling you. I'm the lonely twin that left hand. Reset myself and get back on track. I don't want this isolation. See the state I'm in now. Calling the hunter with the rifle. 'Cause right now that's the ball where we be chained. Shoot it true, I want you in the pictures while I'm calling you. Calling you. I'm the lonely twin that left hand. Reset myself and get back on track. I don't want this isolation now.
If I pick it up when I know that it's broken, do I put it on? Or do I hit her onto
Hello. It is me. It is Wolfhead. Hi. Let me tell you the criteria. Oh, nope, wait, I'm being rude. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wolfhead Brony stream. I'm glad to have you all here. This is going to be quite the reaction. So, let me tell you about the criteria we have for today. If I can just get this to switch to what I want to switch it to. Hi. Why do I have my headphones? I don't need my headphones right now. Gotta be careful with that. Whew. All right. Today's a drunk stream. I'm gonna get a little twisted. I'm not twisted right now, but I am. What I have right next to me is a bottle of Smirnoff, a jug. I'm not even gonna pick that up. A jug of blue raspberry Kool-Aid, and a shaker that I bought yesterday. Apparently, this is called a Boston shaker. Like, this is the thing that, like, bartenders have when they're like, oh, you want a daiquiri mixed with whatever the fuck? All right, let's put it in. Like, it's one of those. I bought this yesterday off of Amazon. And I have Scribbler's glass, her flank glass. She probably doesn't like that I'm calling it a flank glass. I got her flank glass with ice in it, so I mean, without further ado. Oh, I should probably tell you that, like, I went to the liquor store, and there's another version of this Smirnoff vodka. There's another version of this. But it has, like, the red cap. But this was sitting next to it, and I asked the person behind the counter, I was like, what is the difference between the blue one and the red one? And she was like, the blue one is stronger. So now I have the blue one. But without further ado, we're going to spend about 5 or 10 minutes, or I'm going to spend about 5 or 10 minutes, sitting here drinking this cursed drink. I say it's cursed, but it just has alcohol in it. Sweet transition, Wolf. Thank you. I switched up my some stuff in my OBS a little bit. Yeah, that's good enough. I primarily stream over on Twitch. I play games on Twitch. YouTube is where I react. I'm like a caveman that just discovered fire for the first time. Like, I just turned a rock into a tool, and I'm like, I can use this. All right. Now, shaking time. If Scribbler shows up on the live chat, chances are her OC will pull out the flamethrower and burn your OC into ashes. Can I tell you something that I've been debating on whether I should say it over a live microphone or not? I was looking at this glass the other day. Scribbler's flank glass, by the way. And she's gonna watch this later, and I'm gonna get like an angry message. But I was looking at this flank glass the other day, and I was like, it's literally her bottom half being stuck in something, with her bottom half sticking out of it. I'm like, this is a porn category. This is help me, narrator. I'm stuck in the washing machine. Or then I thought, you know what? She's promoting this to a bunch of bronies. She knows how to advertise. You know how many bronies I've come into contact with that are like, Is that the bottom half of a pony? Give that to me. Like, like seriously. All right, well, did I shake this up yet? I don't even know. No, I didn't. All right. Okay. No spills, no spills. No spills, no spills. It's a good product. If you want this, if you are a starting alcoholic such as myself, you might want to Google Boston Mixer, because that's what this is. You learned that the hard way when you reacted to the final April verse back then. Yeah, yeah. All right, we have our drink now. Or at least I have it. You gotta stop saying we. This is all me. Still a little bit in here. But I can't put you there. You're in front of the TV. I am in... We're going to spend like about 3 minutes sitting here talking, just chatting. Oh, no. I can definitely taste it. But chat, what have you been doing? Have you been doing anything since I was gone? Anything interesting at all? It's just the same old with me. I still work at the job I work at. Not that job, the other job. The guard job. Oh, no. I gotta go slow on that. Why did I put you over here? You should go over here. But I will say that, you know, things have been pretty good. Saw my therapist today. You should prioritize your mental health. Even if you don't have anything to talk about with a therapist, if you're mad or sad about something, or you're like, you know, not having a breakdown, but like you have something you want to get off your chest, invest in a therapist. That's all I'm saying. How long have you served? Like as a guard? A year. How long have you served in the platoons of the U.S. of A? Hoorah! It's like, I've never, but I do work with a guy that has been in the Marines before. He served. I'm just a guard. I've never been in the military. You can probably tell that from my lack of discipline. I don't want spoilers on this story, by the way. But, you know, if I ever stop the video for any reason and I start like talking about it or I start theorizing, just let me theorize. I don't want anybody to answer. Oh, we're getting there, chat. We're getting there. I can kind of feel it. Should we start right now? That alcohol has hit my lips, buddy. The last time I was in your live stream, it was the second half of another apple sleep experiment. I remember reacting to that. To think that Apple Bloom was the real mastermind with a massive twist. Yeah. That was devious. Mag is devious. That was some good writing right there. Because I thought Apple Bloom just like fucked off. I thought she just left. Or, you know, no, I thought she died. Because it was implied that she died in the first one. Hello, Azur. Azur, don't mind me. I'm just like getting a little twisted. On a Monday afternoon. You know, like a productive person. Not and Lost and Scribbler are all very good writers. And so is Wooten. Like, have we talked about how good of a writer Wooten is? Wooten put out a story about Luna that I didn't read. So I don't know. Don't take my word for it. But from what I've heard, it's pretty freaking good. I should read his story. I shouldn't react to it, though. Like, I shouldn't react to me reading the story. I should just read it in my off time. And then message him and be like, this is good. But should we start? I think we should start. I will pour a little bit as we go along. Let's try this. Give me my headphones back. I need it to hear the fic. You silly bitch. Yeah. Once again, I'm like a caveman that just discovered tools. All right, let's get into this. Are we here? Is it on the screen that I want it to be on? Which reminds me, is there anything you can react to this October? I don't know. Are there any spooky fics out this October? I think that this year's Month of Macabre has included one of Scribbler's stories based on the Rainbow Factory Parallel Worlds. Rainbow Factory Parallel Worlds is another take on the Rainbow Factory story. I don't know. I'll look around. I'll see.
Hey you! Yes, you, watching this video. Do you want to own a piece of Scribbler?
I already
Not
do.
a lock of hair or blood or flesh or anything else that will get you in trouble with the law?
No, actually, it's your
Well,
ass.
now you can, with t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags and mugs featuring ObabScribbler at her Teespring store. You know you want to.
I already have
I'll
it.
stop talking in third person and send you on to the video. Be lovely to each other and enjoy the show.
I shall. I gotta turn this up, by the way. It's so low. All right, Chad, shut up. I gotta pay attention. Oh, god damn.
The sound of frantic hoof-on-door pounding roused Applejack from her sleep. At first, she thought it was imagined. Or rather, she hoped. She didn't want to get out of bed to deal with whoever it was at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Groaning, she rolled over while shaking her covers from her upper body. Her eyelids felt like lead, but she pushed them open anyway. Her
Twilight,
room
is
was
that you?
dark. She could only make out the outlines of her dresser, nightstand and door. Blinking away the lingering sleepiness, she peeked out of her window. Hanging in the sky was the moon.
Yeah.
It was about to kiss the horizon, but it was still technically up.
Yeah.
Officially making it an ungodly hour to come knocking at the door.
So about 2 in the morning.
Applejack plopped the side of her face into her pillow, plunging into the cool sea of fabric. She wanted so badly to fall back asleep, even if only for the 15 minutes it would take for sunrise to begin. Knock, knock, knock! She grunted.
Whoever
in
it
the
is, they're
back
not
of
going
her
away.
throat. Ugh, I guess no pony else is gonna get it.
Oh yeah, you live with
Forcing
like
herself to sit up,
3 other
she
ponies.
felt the last of her covers slide off her and spill onto the floor. Applejack grabbed her.
Well, to be fair, Granny Smith is old. Apple Bloom probably can't even reach the doorknob, and Big Mac can get it, but he's probably like, fuck this, I'll just wait until my sister gets it.
Stetson from its resting place on her nightstand and plopped it on her head. Suddenly, she was attacked by an involuntary yawn that lasted until she stood up. Knock, knock, knock! Heard you the first time, Applejack
It's very fucking important.
muttered as she smacked her lips together. She cautiously walked forward in the low light of her room. Knock, knock, knock!
Jesus.
Through the hall. Knock, knock, knock! And down the stairs. Knock, 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 knock! Come, sorry
Twilight really wants to get familiar with Applejack's rear end, huh?
that I'm coming. Just because her sleep had been ruined didn't mean she was going to let the rest of her family be tainted. That and the incessant knocking was grinding away at her nerves. Knock! Hello? Applejack threw open the door, her strained and irritated tone letting the pony on the other side know that she was not in the mood for anything right now.
Who is it?
A bright pair of violet eyes widened at the outburst, and their owner backed up. Twilight Sparkle bit her lip,
No.
looking regretful for all the knocking.
Hello, Applejack. Were you sleeping?
The moon is still
Her
up.
anger dampened upon seeing a friendly face was about to be at the receiving end. Still, she couldn't stop a little irritation from slipping into her next two words. I was.
Oh, sorry.
Twilight's face vanished behind a levitating clipboard. Applejack cocked her head at the strangely meek behavior, then took care to make sure her next few sentences weren't quite so harsh. Don't worry about it too much. I had to get up soon anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how did you wake up earlier than me? Twilight slowly lowered the clipboard, sensing an ease in tension. Then she forced out a weak laugh.
Well, I didn't really wake up before you because that would imply that I actually went to sleep in the first place. And
She been up all night thinking about that flank? She hasn't slept a wink. She's like, I gotta get my hands on that apple bottom.
I didn't.
Beg pardon?
I said my hands. I
That
meant my
was cause
hooves.
for some concern. Sleep-deprived Twilight was an unpredictable entity. Not Pinkie Pie level unpredictable, but worrisome nonetheless. To be on the safe side, Applejack gave Twilight a quick once-over to gauge just how tired she looked.
Mm-hmm.
Her mane was unkempt, and her eyes had a layer of baggage underneath. But at the same time, she wasn't swaying side to side out of weariness, and all her limbs seemed stable.
Okay, I know I was joking before. I don't think Twilight is up all night. It'll be hilariously out of character, but Twilight is losing a night of sleep because she's up all night thinking about Applejack's flank. I'm gonna lose it.
Twilight was clearly sleepy.
This has to be one of those situations where it's like I gotta save something, but the MacGuffin is Applejack's ass. Like it's something like that.
But it was a manageable sleepy. As long as she didn't start declaring herself to be random breakfast foods, Applejack saw no reason to be concerned. So, what was it that kept you up all night? And why did you need to see me so early in the morning?
Oh,
Well,
Twilight's eyes darted to the ground while her magic tapped a pin absent-mindedly against her clipboard.
I have a bit of an odd request.
oh,
I've been sitting on it all night trying to figure out the best way to ask it.
oh.
Applejack raised an eyebrow. A request? That's what kept you up till 4 in the morning?
Yeah.
Twilight's cheeks were alight with pink. Applejack tilted her head at this, but wrote it off as a symptom of sleepiness. All right, well, ask away. Twilight cleared her throat, then cleared it again.
The thing is, I need to,
Twilight paused to collect herself.
There's no fucking way.
She closed her
There's no
eyes,
shot.
took a deep breath, and, with professionalism that would make Miss Harshwinny blush, said,
I need to spend the day examining and studying your posterior for the purpose of science.
What?
silence.
Cute it like that. For the purpose of science. Is this a pickup line? This is not a pickup line. This can't be a pickup line. For the purposes of science. All right.
Dead silence. Applejack couldn't bring herself to speak. Every attempt to push the air through her lungs and vibrate her vocal cords into some form of recognizable speech was met with failure. The best she could manage was a weak whine in the back of her throat, which was more akin to Winona begging for scraps than actual language. It did make sense now why Twilight had been up all night trying to find a way to ask.
To quote Silverquill for science. Yeah, for science, right? Yeah, all this is for science.
That question. Though
we have
as far as
questions that
Applejack
need to
could
be answered,
see,
which is what
there
science
was no
is.
appropriate way to ask some pony if you could stare at their butt. Twilight clearly knew this too. Plastered on her face was a smile of desperation and hope, two things that generally didn't look well together.
You know what? I don't think she's doing it for lewd intentions. I don't think so. I think there's a twist to this story. I think there might be a twist to this story, dude. Like I don't think she's fulfilling some kind of perverse urge. I think there really is a legitimate reason why Twilight wants to do this. But the way she goes about it, like, cause like she's a little dork. She's a little nerd, so she doesn't know how to like do this well.
Her brows scrunched together and pointed up, while her ears were folded down in an attempt to make her seem meeker, and her cheeks were flushed.
Yeah.
Still, why in tarnation is she blushing so much?
We're talking about your
Well,
flank.
yes, it was embarrassing to ask some pony, friend or no, if you could stare at their butt. Surely it wouldn't result in more than a bit of colour on your cheeks in the process. Applejack sure thought so. This made Twilight just seem weirder.
Perverse even.
Her face was practically on fire. Was it that embarrassing to ask to observe her flank?
She was a nerd. She's a little dork.
Never mind that. Why was she even asking at all?
For science.
What? Applejack finally croaked out, some 2 minutes after Twilight first posed the question.
An egghead, perhaps.
Twilight's eyes darted to the side.
I need to study your plot for science.
You just said the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, no, I caught that. Just why?
And
Her
don't say
eyes
for
widened.
science.
Oh, right. Of course there's a reason. I mean, it's not like I would come to you asking to look at your plot for no reason. Why in Equestria would I want to do that?
She laughed awkwardly, loudly, until it became obvious to her that Applejack wasn't going to join in.
Is this Twi actually being a perv right now?
Clearing her throat,
I want to believe that there's a legit reason. I don't want to believe that there's like... I don't want to believe that she's like doing it for selfish, perverse reasons. I'll wait.
Twilight continued.
The Equestrian Department of Agriculture is conducting a study on how well farm work tones ponies' legs, thighs, and, glutes. I volunteered to help them by gathering data from farmers in Ponyville and, well, you're my first field subject. If you agree, of course.
Applejack furrowed her brow. Why is the EDA even doing a study like that? It seems kinda pointless to me. Twilight shrugged, as though she would prefer to dodge the question.
Well, they are bureaucrats. Is there something they do that doesn't seem pointless?
This time Applejack snorted out a laugh. Fair enough. But still, why me? Can't you just ask Big Mac?
I thought about it, but you know how shy he is.
Twilight
shy?
rubbed her foreleg, staring at the ground as she mumbled.
Besides, I really was hoping it was be you.
Applejack blinked in surprise. What? Twilight's head jumped up, her pupils shrinking. From the way she looked, Applejack doubted she was supposed to hear that last bit. Twilight bit her lip.
It's because we're already great friends. I didn't think you'd be so awkward that way.
Still awkward enough for you to spend an entire night figuring out how to ask me. So, you just need to look at my flank
For science.
for a day.
For science!
Twilight, not-
It's for science!
But my flank? Pinpricks of pink reappeared on Twilight's face, and her ears flopped down.
Yeah. Look, Applejack, I know I'm asking a lot. If you aren't comfortable with it, I can try and find some pony else.
She chewed the inside of her cheek, not wanting to let down her friend. Well, I mean, it is important to you. And since I'm just helping out with research, I don't see the harm in it.
Really?
Twilight's entire demeanor brightened. Her ears perked up, her eyes sparked with happiness, and she excitedly brought up her clipboard and pen. Her blush
How drunk are you, Wolf? Not drunk enough.
didn't fade, however. Yeah, sure. As long as you promise not to make it too weird.
Of course. After all, what's weird about me staring at your butt?
Yeah,
She
there's nothing weird
paused,
about
her
that.
smile faltering.
What do you mean my intentions are questionable?
Don't answer that.
Wasn't planning on it.
Great, then let's get started.
A grin on her face, Twilight.
What do you mean, let's get started? Like right here in the doorway? Well, you want me to do the Jacko pose? You want me to, like, face into the floor, ass in the air? Is that what you want me to do?
whirled around
Not me, but Applejack.
and targeted the nearest apple tree.
Come on.
Applejack followed, letting the door shut behind her. Is it me, or does she seem a mite too excited to do this? It was probably just her imagination. Without a doubt, Twilight likely just wanted to get this over as quickly as possible.
That's what I want to believe.
The first morning light finally peeked over the horizon as
Okay.
Applejack finally battered away what remained of her exhaustion. She turned her attention to the row of trees in the southern orchard and tried to push what was about to happen out of her mind. That proved to be a much more difficult task than first anticipated. As Applejack walked over to the barn, she couldn't help but feel regret for her choice. How could she not? One of her closest friends was about to spend the next several hours staring at her butt.
What do you mean hours? Nobody said hours. It could just be like 10 minutes. How do we know it's hours? Who said hours? Who said that?
Even just a minute of that would probably make her uncomfortable. But
Well, just get on the tree, lift your tail, and let her do what she's got to do.
hours? In fact, just thinking about it made Applejack's own cheeks warm up.
No.
She quickly loaded the day's baskets into a cart before Twilight could notice. When they made it to the first tree, Applejack positioned the baskets underneath and prepared herself to give it a good kick. Her leg muscles tensed up, her plot pulled back, and the scratchy noise of pencil on paper hit her ears, interrupting her.
Okay.
Blinking, Applejack stopped mid-kick and looked over. Then she immediately wished she hadn't. Twilight's face couldn't have been more than a foot away from her posterior. Granted, there was a clipboard between the two, but every few seconds it was dropped, so Twilight could drink in another look at Applejack's taut rear end, blush included.
It's okay. She is here for science.
It was the first time any pony had ever really a little self-conscious about her own butt. Not helping was the near fixation Twilight currently had on her flank. Needless to say, it was already making her uncomfortable.
Applejack, don't be uncomfortable. You have a great ass. I wish I had a sound in my soundboard that can illustrate what a great ass you have. I mean, I could play this. But I don't think that hits the mark. Yeah, I don't have any sounds queued up right now. I know there's a famous quote of a, not a quote, but like a sound clip of a guy going, "She had a great ass," but I gotta find out where that's from.
She cleared her throat, catching Twilight's attention.
Yes, Applejack?
Could you move a bit away? I just don't want to buck you by accident.
Yeah, sure.
Twilight took a step back. A tiny one. Applejack bit her lip and motioned with her
I'll
hoof.
take a step back. Yeah, sure,
Further.
1 centimeter.
Another tiny step back. This time, Applejack groaned. Twilight, I'm gonna need a lot more room than that. Twilight blinked, observing the barely
The more the room is, the bigger the binoculars she will have.
more than a foot distance between her snout and Applejack's butt. Her
I can send you one through Twitter quickly. Okay, send me one through Twitter quickly.
face lit up again.
Is it already too much?
Applejack bit her lip. Yeah.
Mm.
I just think it probably wouldn't be if you just gave me a bit more space. And I mean, real space. Enough so it doesn't feel like you might accidentally kiss my flank if you lean in too much. Twilight
Accidentally kiss her flank. Yes. Yes. Accidentally. Okay, where's the sound clip? Where are you sending? Did you send it through DMs? You did not send it through DMs. You probably sent it through like response or like reactions or like replies. Where'd you send it? Did you send it through DMs? I do not see it. That's so strange. I'll look for it in a minute, but right now I gotta get into this story. I gotta figure out why Twilight is being like this.
Twilight's face went from a splash of pink to an ocean of red in a heartbeat.
Yeah, sure.
I added at you. Okay, well then it should be in my notifications, which it is not. Wait, mentions. Nope. Twitter is so broken, dude. All right, let's get back into the story.
Of course. Absolutely.
She backpedaled, bringing one of her wings out to fan away the heat radiating from her face.
I mean, why would I want to be close enough to your flank to kiss it? Or any part of you, for that matter. Not that you aren't.
Such a weird approach to be like, I want to be intimate with Applejack, but how do I trick her into fulfilling my perverse desires?
Aren't kissable or anything. Or your plot?
If Twilight acts like Pinkie Pie, she would just hug the flank, just like in season 7. Yeah, Pinkie Pie she doesn't hesitate. She just gets in and gets out. Pinkie Pie is like, I'm gonna hug that flank, and then she hugs it, and then that's it. That's all. It happens so fast that Applejack doesn't even have time to react. It's like, why do anything about it? It's Pinkie Pie.
Just.
Her wing beat double time, as if that would somehow distract her from her red face. Applejack watched in confusion at the flustered mess that had once been Twilight retreat several more yards away.
Is this far enough?
Twilight called out from 3 rows of trees down. It took Applejack a moment to register the question. Yeah? But how do you plan on? A bright flash of light interrupted Applejack's question, and the answer shortly followed. Twilight had just teleported a pair of binoculars to her side. Sure, why not? Might as well just get a camera while you're at it.
I knew she was gonna pull out
Applejack
fucking binoculars.
focused her attention back to the tree. At least now she could pretend that no pony was scrutinizing her. Except for the fact that she couldn't stop thinking about it. She shot a quick glance back at Twilight, who quickly yanked her eyes away from the binoculars and into her clipboard, as if that would somehow convince her she wasn't staring. Sighing, Applejack kicked the tree, knocking free a dozen or so apples, and watching them all perfectly fall into the waiting baskets.
That's hot.
It's gonna be
That's hot, Will Smith. Ah, that's hot. That's hot.
a long day, isn't it?
So they were out here for a couple
44
hours.
trees later, Applejack knew something was wrong with Twilight. In
Oh, you don't
hindsight,
say.
she really should have guessed it earlier, but her exhaustion just made her write off Twilight's weird behavior as, well, exhaustion. Now that Applejack was wide awake, it was a different story. Every gosh darn time, she even remotely glanced at Twilight, she was face deep in her binoculars, which were flank deep in Applejack.
I don't know if it's the alcohol, but I thought what I was gonna hear is every time that Applejack remotely glanced at Twilight, she was face deep in Applejack's ass. And I'm glad it didn't say that.
While this shouldn't be a problem, Applejack had begun to notice a pattern. A rather concerning one. Each time she glanced over at Twilight, her friend would duck from watching to note-taking. Not switch, but duck. It was like she was a child who'd been caught with her hoof in the cookie jar and thought no pony would notice if they pulled out and acted like nothing was wrong. The only thing Applejack hadn't been able to figure out how was the why behind it. She had already given Twilight permission to stare at places.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was going to suddenly get angry at her for doing her job, and Twilight knew her well enough to know that wouldn't happen. So what was going on?
Maybe she just thinks you have a hot flank. Hey, Wolf, how's the drinking been going? I mean, I'm tilted right now. I feel it. The only person that would be deep in her cake would be Sketchy the Changeling. I mean, sure, if she would let her. I mean, if she would let him. Remember, consent is everything.
With a disgruntled sigh, Applejack raised her legs to kick the 45th tree of the day and felt a rumbling in her stomach.
The 45th?
Guess it's about time to eat. She delivered a buck to the tree and watched as the apples tumbled into the basket. Wiping the sweat from her forehead, she turned. Hey, Twilight! In a blur of purple and red, Twilight's face went from the binoculars to her notes. With her quill darting along the paper, she managed a shaky attempt at nonchalantness.
Wait a minute. What is she writing? What exactly is she writing? She says it's for science, but what is she writing? Is it like that scene from Turning Red where it's just her scribbling sketches of Applejack's ass? Don't tell me if that's the case. I want the story to tell me. Oh god, that would be hilarious if it's just like random sketches of Applejack's ass.
Yeah?
Applejack barely suppressed a groan. Are you willing to break for some lunch? Twilight's clipboard descended and she smiled.
Sure. That sounds nice, actually.
I'll bet. Applejack trotted over to her. You probably skipped breakfast this morning when he came over here. In reply, Twilight's stomach let loose a growl that gave Applejack a run for its money.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Don't sweat it. I didn't get to eat anything either because of your experiment, so we're in the same boat.
Oh, sorry.
Twilight pinched her lips and looked down. I already said not to sweat it, Sugar Cube. Besides, a little hunger never bothered me. Twilight managed to smile as they walked, but from where Applejack was standing, it seemed a little forced. Maybe I should lighten the mood a little bit. She looks like she could use it. She cleared her throat, thinking of something humorous. Say, you don't have to measure my flank or anything before we eat, right?
What?
Twilight backpedaled, her magic cutting off and dropping her clipboard and quill. Her wings awkwardly flared and her face ignited with the color red.
Why would you think I would want to do that?
Applejack blinked in confusion as Twilight put a solid 5 feet between them. Her face contorted into a mixture of shock and bewilderment, not to mention it looked hot enough to turn water into steam. Applejack winced a little. This had been the exact opposite of what she'd hoped to do. I didn't mean it, why? Just thought it'd be a little funny, is all.
Twilight, I was joking. Wait, why do you have that measuring tape?
Twilight raised an eyebrow. Well, I mean, don't you normally have to measure stuff when you're sciencing and such?
Is this gonna transition into... Okay, no, I should watch.
The purple on Twilight's face regained some ground, and she took a deep breath.
Well, normally you collect data like that in an experiment, but I'm just observing, so that's not necessary.
You sound so out of breath.
Unless...
She shook her head in the vain attempt to dissipate her blush.
No, I don't need to.
Oh.
Jeez, that one little joke really got her wound up. The latent question of, what is wrong with Twilight Sparkle, poked at her conscience again. Maybe once her friend calmed down, she could try to figure out what was going on over lunch. Utilizing a tried-and-true breathing technique, Twilight managed to restore her face to its natural color, collect her notes, and rejoin Applejack for the rest of the walk to the house. Have anything in particular you want to eat? Applejack asked as she nudged open.
I swear to Christ. Chat, I swear to fucking Christ. This is a setup. That line is a setup. Is there anything you want to eat? I swear to God, if Twilight says that, those delicious apples,
The door to her home.
Well, watching you work all day did kind of make me hungry for apples.
No! 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 They did not do the joke I thought of. No, I gotta let it play a little bit more.
Why? Applejack flashed a grin and got one in return. She trotted over to the kitchen, then paused, indicating the nearby sofa with her hoof. Why don't you take a load off while I whip us up a few apple fritters then? Twilight set her notes down on the coffee table, but didn't make a move
she
to
wasn't
sit.
talking about those apples.
I'm fine for now.
You sure? You must be exhausted after being up all night. She turned her head and slightly mumbled the rest. Might even be making you act a little weird. She shook her head.
No, I'm fine. My circadian rhythm will be a little offset tonight, but for now, I'm awake and alert.
Should not just bring up circadian rhythm.
I see. Well, she's still able to use big words. Must not be as tired as I thought. With theory number 1 shot down, Applejack retreated into the kitchen, only to be followed.
Want some help?
Twilight offered, rounding the corner.
Twilight!
Applejack stopped and pinched her lips together. Guess? Though the only thing I'll be doing is taking some leftover fritters from the fridge and reheating them.
Well, I can help with that.
Twilight's horns sparked to life.
Applejack, don't Applejack, whatever you do, don't bend over to put him in the oven, please.
I know a few reheating spells that'll only take a second.
Sounds good to me.
But first, I need you to do 10 squats.
Popped open the fridge and glanced over the contents. In the background, she could hear the squeak of the cupboards opening, followed by the clattering of plates. As Applejack took the fritters out, she turned and saw Twilight halfway through setting the table. So, Applejack nudged the fridge door shut and prepared to test her second theory. Have you been able to get some good, sciencey whatever's yet?
Have you taken good
Twilight
notes?
finished levitating the plates as traces of pink flushed on her face.
Yeah. I've gotten some pretty good, firm observations so far.
I am so convinced that she is just sketching Applejack's ass.
Applejack raised an eyebrow at the blush forming on her friend. So maybe it is embarrassment after all. Must be a little awkward just to stare at my butt for a few hours.
Kinda.
Twilight bowed her head slightly in a poor attempt to hide her expanding blush. She set down the apple fritters, passing to Twilight's plate and keeping one for her own. Can't imagine how much worse it'll be when you have to ask other farmers to do this. Twilight opened her mouth.
Applejack
looking
is
like she
too
was about
smart.
to say something, but then charged her horn and hit the two fritters in front of them with a magical heat wave. Within seconds, they were steaming hot, their sweet aroma making Applejack's mouth water. Nicely done. Applejack tore into hers, finding the fritter to taste as fresh as when it was hot out of the oven.
That's what a toaster oven will do. Maybe she has like a air fryer. From Twilight. Now I need you to wear this bunny suit that I stole from Golden Fox. Oh. She's thirsty, Wolf. Why did she have to approach it like this? She has no riz. It's so much more creepy to be like, hey, can I study your butt for a few hours? Instead of you being like, hey, can we go out? I have a crush on you. And then naturally it progresses to the part of the relationship where you can get physically intimate enough to where you know everything about Applejack's butt. Poor Golden Fox. He just looks in his closet and he's like, where the fuck is my bunny suit? It's been stolen.
Twilight was a little slower to eat, poking at hers a little longer, and Applejack took note. Something on your mind, Sugar Cube?
Yes, actually.
What?
Twilight's blush grew steadily.
Applejack, I was thinking, maybe I could make a case study out of you?
What does that
She
mean?
chewed slowly. A what?
A case study. Essentially, I'd be focusing all my time on you, opposed to a bunch of different ponies.
She fiddled with her fritter.
Would not see you in chat. I didn't know what you said yet. I will read it in a moment. I'm going to pour more of the devil's juice into my Scribbler cup. Oh god, that just looks like straight up alcohol. Oh no. That did not have any color to it whatsoever. Something cool to consider. Everything for this reading was done by Cedarwin, voicing, editing, the whole shebang. Oh, okay. Oh no, I should... You know what? For future readings, I should put shit like that in the description or somewhere. I don't even think I have the author of the original fic in the description. I gotta edit that later. Okay. Thank you, Wooden. What was I talking about before that? Twilight wants to make a case study out of Applejack. which implies that she has a flank like no other.
It could be good for the research the EDA wants, and we'd get to spend a lot of time together, and...
Oh yeah, that is straight alcohol. Fucking... Is this... She has no riz, chat. She has no riz. How do you hit on a pony like this? I know it's like for comedy. But Twilight is one of the most awkward ponies in all of MLP. And I can't, because of reasons like this, I can't ever imagine her having a crush on another pony in a physically, in a physical, intimate way. Because I actually feel like it would go down like this. For science, huh?
You know, that kind of stuff.
Applejack swallowed and tried to
I gotta
grasp
stop
the
sipping.
absurdity of the idea. So what you're saying is, you want my permission for exclusive butt-staring rights.
What?
Can I have permission to stare at your flank whenever the fuck I want?
That's one way of putting it.
Twilight's face lost what little purple it had
She's a kissless virgin. Is that how we're operating
been
now?
retaining.
I mean, I wouldn't put it that way. Ever.
Twilight, it's fine. I was just messing with
As Anon found out back in November, AJ got a butt like no other. Chat, if you are above the age of 18, go check out Wooten and go check out his last Applejack story. It's really good. Holy shit.
you. Again.
Oh, right. Sorry.
She rubbed the back of her neck and looked away.
But, would you let me?
Let you what? Applejack shoved what remained of the fritter in her mouth.
Let me perform a case study on you?
She bit her lip.
What does that mean?
The, butt staring rights?
I have
Applejack pulled.
exclusive
Half-chewed
butt
fritter
staring
pushed her in the
rights.
cheeks. So she wasn't kidding. Twilight really did want to observe her.
No one could look at Applejack's flank except for Twilight. She has exclusive butt sharing rights. She's gonna need that in writing, and she is gonna have that notarized by a Celestia herself. It's legal. It's law.
Her body, and just hers for the EDA. So this meant she wasn't embarrassed by staring at her plot for hours on end? Or at least, she was more embarrassed at the thought of observing any pony else's flank, and just decided to take the lesser of two evils? If either were the case, then theory number 2 had just been shot.
You know what,
and
chat? Back to what I just said. I do have, like, can you imagine Twilight being like, I have this legal... Yep, I'm definitely drunk. I have this legal piece of paper that I need notarized by you. I need you to make it so in all of Equestria, I can stare at Applejack's flank anytime I want. And Celestia just looks at the paper and she's like, she does have a pretty good flank. All right, whatever. And then she just gives Twilight the rights.
buried. But that couldn't be the case. Applejack didn't have any other way to justify Twilight's weirdness today. How else could she explain all the blushing, erratic behavior, stuttering? It was then she realized that she'd been blankly staring at Twilight without answering. In fact, she hadn't even thought about her answer.
I'm a princess, I get
She
what I want.
swallowed what remained of the fritter and gave it all of 2 seconds of thought. I guess you can. Twilight's whole
No.
face brightened.
No.
And not from redness this time.
Applejack, you can't throw a guess in there. You need to approach this with all of your ass or none of it. You can't approach this with like 60% of your ass and then be unsure. You have to put your whole country hat farm girlisms into it.
Really?
Applejack nodded her confirmation.
Oh, thank you, Applejack. You have no idea what this means to me. I promise it shouldn't.
She wouldn't even need it notarized since she's royalty herself. Yeah, she would just probably have like Applejack write on a piece of paper, I give Twilight permission to stare at my flank, and then she would pull out a special stamp that she has made for this specific situation and then stamp it herself. She is royalty, right? Yeah, this is Alicorn Twilight. Yeah, she royalty.
Take more than a few weeks.
She pointed her face at the floor.
This is post-season
Oh,
3
nice.
Twilight, chat.
Months? What the hey did I just agree to?
You gotta read the fine print! You gotta read the fine print!
It found its way into her mouth.
Well, that's a rough estimate.
Rough, huh? You sure about that? If
Wait a
I
minute.
didn't know any...
Wait a minute, no, don't. What the fuck did you just tell me? What did you just say?
Sure about that?
You did not just say rough, are you sure about that?
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you almost enjoyed staring at my flank. Applejack laughed this time, seeing as how Twilight needed a cue to know when she was joking today.
Ha! Yes, it's almost as if I liked it. Ha ha ha!
Twilight continued to awkwardly laugh along, even after Applejack had stopped. Long after she had stopped, come to think of it.
What a hilarious
Seemingly
joke!
aware of this, Twilight shoved her apple fritter in her mouth, muffling her horrible awkwardness until it finally died down. Applejack could only raise an eyebrow in concern.
What a silly situation to propose!
Doing all right, Twi?
Mm-hmm.
Twilight nodded, sending crumbs onto the table. She stood, gulped down her food, and grabbed her supplies.
We should probably get back to work, though.
Bowing her head, Twilight rushed for the door. Yeah, sounds good. Applejack stood up, more confused than when she'd sat down. She followed Twilight outside, wondering just what the heck she was going to do.
I gotta get out of this situation.
Several hours later, Applejack was still pondering that question. She gave her last tree of the day the hardest kick she could muster, and smiled when the final bunch of apples clattered into the bucket.
Chat, what would you do if you were Applejack and you needed to get out of this situation? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to put on a show for Twilight. I feel like if I was Applejack, I would put on a show, but I would put on such a good show that Twilight would catch like one of those anime nerdy nosebleeds where blood just gushes out of her face and she passes out. And then when she passes out, I use that opportunity to leave. That is my plan.
Sweat ran down her face and she lifted her hoof to brush it off, only to be interrupted when a towel was levitated in.
Because it's very obvious that, like, Twilight is timid right now, right? Twilight is extremely timid. I feel like if you poke her about the issue, she gets real red in the face and she just starts stammering. I feel like if you just lifted your tail a little bit, that would be enough to put her out of commission.
In front of her.
It's like Wooten said, she's a kissless virgin. She can't take a lot of heat.
She blinked and looked over, seeing Twilight's smile and glowing horn, which was all she needed to understand. Thanks, Twilight. She grabbed the towel and ran it along her face.
Mm-hmm.
After lunch, Applejack had been a little less strict about how far away Twilight would have to be before she could
Okay.
observe.
Okay.
It was the only way they'd be close enough to hold a conversation. Even so, she hadn't been able to glean anything new about Twilight's weird behavior. Every time she broke...
Applejack is not that deep. She just thinks your flank is hot and she wants to do things to it. Absolutely turn up the heat. Wolfhead, I would run the first second I get if Twilight wants an experiment. Yeah, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. Because, like, she's being a creep, but, like, they're still friends. So, like, even if you ran away, the next time you see her, it's going to be even more awkward. Actually, if you're interested in long-form podcasts, this story is the next one up on Scribbler's Them's Writing Words. Oh, yeah. Wooten is going to be featured on Scribbler's Them's Writing Words now. I saw the thumbnail. I saw you sticking your little noodle horse face in there. You don't know if it's out yet. It should be out soon. One of the big complaints we had is that Applejack has to do is, like, give it a little shake, lift her tail, and give it a little shake. Twilight would fucking melt, bro. She'd faint. She would clinically faint. She'd have a stroke. She wouldn't know what to do.
The subject. Twilight just shifted it away to literally anything else. On the positive side, they did have some pretty good conversation because of it. No, stay focused. Applejack tossed the used towel around her neck, only to see Twilight levitating the buckets of freshly bucked apples onto her cart. She turned and smiled at Applejack.
I hope you don't mind, but I kind of felt like helping a little. It's been weird just watching you work all day.
Oh, weird, huh?
I appreciate it, Sugar Cube. Applejack trotted around to the front of the cart to strap it around her back. Say, it's pretty late. Would you like to stay for dinner? Twilight pressed her lips into a thin line and
Would you like to stay for dinner? I really thought she was going to say, would you like to spend the night?
glanced at her clipboard.
I don't know. I really should get back to the castle so I can look over all these notes.
Oh, you sure? She snickered. I'm sure my family would love to hear all about how you spent the day staring at my flank.
No, let's not get them involved at all, actually.
A blush crept onto Twilight's face.
Especially Big Mac.
Well, now I'm definitely not going.
Applejack couldn't force back a laugh. It was pretty funny to mess with Twilight occasionally, even if she didn't really understand where all the embarrassment was coming from. Okay, she said when her laughter ended. Even
You know dinner is gonna happen, and Applejack is gonna, like, go into the dinner room, or, like, the living room, I guess, wherever they eat dinner. And Applejack is just gonna flatly say, like, I spent the afternoon butt modeling for Twilight. And Granny Smith is gonna be like, what the hell? Big Mac is gonna be like, that's kind of hot. Apple Bloom is gonna be like, I'm not old enough to understand why this would happen. It's gonna be various responses.
so, it was pretty nice to spend the day with you. I had fun. In a weird kind of way.
Yeah, I had fun too.
Twilight's eyes suddenly bulged.
I mean, not because I was staring at your flank or anything. I just enjoyed the normal amount. I mean...
Twilight? Applejack watched as Twilight's face exploded.
Wound in chat. Apple Bloom, I'm 12 and what is this? Why is everyone... I can just imagine Apple Bloom just sitting there being like, why is everyone giving, like, knowing looks right now? Well, fuck it. I guess I'll just eat my dinner. I don't know. I'm too young for this shit. I don't know what the hell is happening, but this casserole is good. Fuck it.
Into a blush for... was it the 200th time that day? And I still don't even understand why.
I'll see you later, Applejack.
Twilight flared her wings and ripped herself from the ground.
I'm 12
Her
and
clipboard
what
was
is this?
slightly delayed, being held in magic, but it whipped after her, a few paper fluttering loose from the speed. Applejack watched her go in surprise. As Twilight faded into a purple speck in the sky, her lost notes landed in the grass.
No! Okay, chat, what do you think the notes are? I know like half of you have seen this story, but I really do believe that Twilight was sketching pictures of Applejack's ass. I don't know if you've ever seen this anime. Actually, I have it on DVD. I should go get it. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna mute in the meantime. Okay, I am back. This is a completely nothing burger. But I'm going to show you something that I probably shouldn't even show, but... Oh, God, why is the cover so dirty? Fuck it. I'll deal with it later. So there is an anime called Shimonetta. A boring world where the concept of dirty jokes don't exist. And I'm trying to look on the cover... This character's whole bit is that whenever something lewd is happening, she pops out and starts drawing it. Why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that because I think Twilight has just been drawing, like sketching, pictures of Applejack's ass. I swear to God, that is my theory. And I'm excited to know what it is. Like, she's just been, like, field research sketching, like, detailed pictures of Applejack's, like, ass the whole time. Also, don't watch that anime if you're not 18. Anyway, let's continue.
Was it something I said? She blinked.
Show and
shock
tell.
of what had just happened finally dissipating. What
Of course Wooten knows what Shimonetta is.
the hey just happened? They'd gone from light-hearted joking to whatever that was in just a few seconds. It was clear embarrassment had been the cause.
Applejack,
Still,
don't look down.
Applejack had to ask why. She'd been under the impression that Twilight wasn't that embarrassed anymore about staring at her flank.
Applejack, do not look at the notes.
After all, that's why she'd asked Applejack to do a case study, right? If that wasn't it, then that would mean Twilight was still bothered by staring at her butt, yet wanted to keep doing it for some reason? Applejack glanced down at the notes.
No!
And sighed.
It's over.
She's probably gonna need those back.
It's over, Chad, it's over.
Maybe I can ask her what's going on while I bring them over.
She is so fucking cooked. It's over. The veil has been lifted. The man behind the Wizard of Oz curtain is about to be revealed.
He bent down to scoop up the lost papers, but paused. Twilight had written down everything she had done today in her notes.
Okay.
And Applejack knew she had a fairly strong stream of consciousness style of writing.
Okay.
Maybe, just maybe, whatever weirdness that had been going on inside her head had snuck into her notes.
Oh, it's over.
Lifting up the pages, Applejack chose one at random and read,
It is currently 30 minutes into my observation of Applejack. No abnormalities or unexpected occurrences have surfaced yet,
Okay.
at least on the subject side of things.
Okay.
I, however, cannot seem to keep my heart rate down every time I so much as glance at her perfectly adorable her flank.
Did she actually write the word adorable in there?
I hadn't
I wouldn't describe Applejack's flank as adorable. Muscular, probably, but...
anticipated some problems like this, but so far it is much more severe than I originally thought.
What?
I'll have to keep myself in check in the future.
Applejack stopped reading
Oh.
her eyelid.
Twilight is like, why is this... Why am I responding this way whenever I think about Applejack's flank? I must run a science experiment to figure out why.
It's narrowed in confusion. What the heck? She shook her head. certain she had read that wrong and moved on to another page.
Oh no.
It is currently 1 hour and 47 minutes into my observation. I can't stop staring. Only if she looks over at me do I have the strength to tear my eyes away for fear she'll find out what's going on. I'm not even staring at her butt anymore. It's just her.
Aw, that's
the way
sweet.
she moves as she goes to kick the tree, her golden hair flowing from the force of her butt, as sweat glistens off her perfectly toned muscles.
Wow. I wonder if Twilight is watching her read that, because she's like, like, I don't know, like 2 feet away. But that's sweet. Any compliment that's not rooted in physical appearance is sweet.
By Celestia, she's gorgeous.
Aww.
Applejack gulped and
Ah.
chose to pretend she hadn't read that part. Her eye skimmed a paragraph or two down.
I lost track of what time it is, but we just stopped for our lunch break. Applejack eats fritters in the most adorable way possible.
Aww.
She has agreed to be the subject of my case study, and I had to restrain myself not to tackle her with a hug.
Tackle her with a hug, huh? How do we know that ain't gonna be more than a hug? You know what I'm saying?
This is great news! Not only will I be able to actually get work done, hopefully, but I'll also get to spend more time with Applejack.
Aw.
She flipped to the final page.
It's been approximately 4 hours since lunch.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. I'm sorry. I know chat is gonna be so fucking confused. They're all gonna hit me with question marks. That's a song that I don't even know the name of, but that part of the song is stuck in my head. I think the name of the song is called "It's Been 1 Week." I don't even know who it's by.
I've forgotten to write in a lot of my observations. Applejack and I were just lost in our chat, and honestly, I'm just glad she let me get close enough to talk to her.
Aww.
I think this is a good sign that she's gotten more comfortable with the study as a whole. Maybe she won't be too off it by having me observe her for a few weeks or months. Maybe she even likes me back.
Oh, wait a
hey.
minute.
Applejack nearly dropped the paper.
Chat, I'm kind of mad. Because even though I would prefer, like, Twilight's a little nerd, so I can't really expect her to come out and be like, I have feelings for you. Like a fucking Cyberdyne robot, but like, in order for Applejack to find out that Twilight had feelings for her, she had to read her notes. Which she knows now, so like I don't know. Now it's up to her to be like if this is like a situation she wants to explore. I do like, however, that it went from her staring at her flank to her just staring at her. You understand what I mean? Like it went from perverse to just being like, oh, now I want all of you. That's what I love.
Try as she might, there was no pretending to unread that. She stood still for a few minutes, processing what she had just learned. All of the puzzle pieces were finally clicking together. It was clear why Twilight had been acting funny all day, and now that Applejack had thought about it, really obvious too. Oh, shucks. Applejack rubbed the back of her neck and looked at the papers again.
Oh no.
I need to go talk to her.
Aw. Wait, she
Twilight
left already?
groaned
I
as
must
she
have missed that
collapsed on
part.
her bed, and not just from exhaustion.
I am an idiot.
I have a mental illness.
Of all her observations from today, that one was the most astute by far. Seriously, what had she been thinking? Short answer, she wasn't. She
I mean, you were
couldn't have
being a
been thinking to
weirdo
say
for the
something
first
as
half of
moronic
this.
as that, and then leave right afterwards.
Dropping notes.
The pillow was only a hoof length away, and she grabbed it, shoved
Evidence
it
at
against
the
her
crime
face, and
scene.
screamed without hesitation.
What is wrong with me?
You're
I could
horny.
handle being around Applejack for weeks despite my feelings. But the second we're alone and I have to look at her flank, I turn into a stammering idiot.
She peeled the pillow from her face and sighed.
I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't want to see me again for a few weeks.
Actually, she's approaching your location
Or
now.
months.
And who could blame her? Things had finally begun to feel less awkward between them, and then she had to go and say she enjoyed staring at Applejack's butt. No, there probably wasn't any way it could possibly be more awkward. The universe probably had physical laws that prevented at least
Weird way
that
to look at
meant
it.
there was no way her situation could get any worse. Knock, knock, knock.
Oh no.
Her head drifted up from her bed upon hearing somebody
Where's my mouse?
tapping her bedroom.
Yeah, bitch, now I'm the one doing the knocking. How do you feel now? The knocking's on the other hoof. It's time for me to talk to you. How about I take pictures of your flank? How you like it now?
Door. Twilight? It was Applejack. Applejack was here, right now.
It looks like I was wrong about the universe. Yeah?
Do you mind if I come in? She pushed herself into a sitting position.
Sure. What is she doing here?
The door opened, revealing Applejack. She looked sweaty. Not from the fieldwork this time, more like from running.
It's the horny
Her
police.
breaths were short but heavy. Hey,
Oh no, I'm gonna
I'm
get
sorry.
bonked.
Twilight blurted out. Applejack blinked and opened her mouth to respond, but she wasn't done.
Applejack, please don't bonk me. I was horny under duress. I don't know. My mind is foggy, and all I can think is horny thoughts. Please don't bonk me. I gotta go to Celestia tomorrow. Then I want to visit Celestia with a huge cartoon ass lump on my head.
Done just yet.
I didn't mean to keep everything so awkward. I know you were uncomfortable from the start, and I tried, but I just couldn't.
She hung her head.
Sorry.
It's all right, Sugar Cube. I understand. Applejack walked over and took a seat next to her on the bed.
Really?
Twilight looked up. Applejack nodded. More than you realize. She held up her hoof.
More than we realize.
In its grasp are 3 crumpled papers. At first, Twilight raised her brow in confusion. Then it dawned on her what she was looking at. Notes.
Oh, that's what she
Notes
means.
of hers, to be precise.
Oh no,
that
she's
had
gonna
probably
freak
come
out.
loose when she'd flown off. Notes that contained everything she had been writing.
Applejack, why would you do that? She's gonna piss and shit.
She felt her face heat up for the... Was it the 200th and first time that day?
I.
You alright, Twi? Somehow, in the mixture of shock and disorientation, Twilight managed to comprehend Applejack's question and nod. Good. She uncrumpled one of the papers and looked at it. Is it true, Twilight? Do you like me? Twilight.
Aw. I know this is a pivotal moment, but I just got a Mad Lad subscription. Thank you, Pokemon fan 6131. I actually waited a little bit to see if the OBS shit is hooked up the way that it's supposed to be. It is not, because there is a message supposed to pop up that says, "Hey, you got a new Mad Lab." So I guess that's something I have to fix later. Anyway, I know we're all there's a pivotal moment. I shouldn't pause. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
Swallowed and mustered the courage to speak without stammering. She almost succeeded too.
Yes.
Aw.
I see. And you made up some story about the EDA doing research to stare at my flank because...
I didn't make that up!
Twilight managed to meet Applejack in the eye.
Oh.
Applejack, I wouldn't lie to you. The EDA really is doing the research, and they asked me for help.
Oh, really?
I said yes because, well,
Opportunity.
I just really wanted to spend more time around you.
Oh, there's an opportunity to stare at Applejack.
I didn't know that I'd have to stare down there until after I agreed to help them.
Hi, Clever Hose.
Oh. Applejack chewed the inside of her cheek, likely feeling guilty about her accusation.
Oh.
All right.
So what I'm getting from the situation is that, like, you do some studies, but then in Twilight's perverse head, she was like, okay, well, now I can use this as an excuse to look at Applejack's butt. Is that where we're at, chat? That's what we're doing? That's where we're at? It's like, hey, I could look at my crush. After all these years. After all these years. I can finally see you do some squats. And I have the perfect excuse. If only I wasn't such a nerd and I didn't present it in such a weird way, then maybe this would have went smoother. Also, if only I didn't drop my notes. But maybe her dropping the notes is a good thing. Maybe they can actually be a couple. Rainbow Dash is gonna be fucking pissed.
Well, if that's the case, then I just have one more question.
Oh, really?
What is it?
Applejack looked her in the eyes. Why me? Twilight blinked. That wasn't quite the question she had expected to hear.
'Cause, bitch, you goddamn that apple bottom!
But she didn't have to think
Don't say that, by the
too
way.
hard about the answer.
Well, it started a month ago.
Aw.
I couldn't get the thought of you out of my head. You're brave, you're strong, you're able to keep a level head, even when I can't. You're always there for me no matter what. You're beautiful.
Aw.
You're amazing.
Aw.
You're courageous.
Hell yeah.
I could go on, but at this point it would pretty much be synonyms.
Applejack couldn't hold back.
Okay, Chad, if you ever have a crush on somebody and they find out and they ask you why, don't ever, because, like, I need to be clear. I'm drunk right now. Don't ever do what I just did. Don't have them ask you why me and then be like, bitch, because you got that apple I don't think that's ever going to get you that far. You have to actually, like, say some shit that matters. I don't know who's in my chat. I hope I help someone. I hope I help someone out. Actually say some real shit. Don't say, like, oh, you have that apple bottom. That's not going to get you very far.
A smile or a blush. Wow. I never knew you felt that way about me.
Yeah, I was pretty good at hiding it.
Aw. A lot of
Until
people are.
today, that is.
Twilight looked down.
So, did you ever?
This time Applejack couldn't hold back a sigh. I'm sorry, Twilight. I've never thought about you that way.
Aw.
Her breath
Sad
caught in
aw.
the back of her throat, and every muscle in her chest tightened.
Applejack is a lesbian. She just never looked at Twilight that way. She could give it a chance. Let's see what happens.
Barely blinking back tears, she opened her mouth.
Oh, that heartbreak is about to be
Oh.
vicious.
Okay, I understand.
She was interrupted by a hoof pressing against her lips.
Oh?
You didn't let me finish,
Oh?
Applejack said.
There's
lowering
more to
her
this?
foreleg. I've never thought about you that way, but that don't mean I'll never think about you that way.
Let's go!
Suddenly, Twilight
Chat, she said she has a chance. It's a small one, but let's fucking go. Oh God, I'm so drunk. I'm twisted, bro. I got. There's no more. There's no more. I gotta put that in the refrigerator. But we gotta finish this fic.
was able to breathe again. She celebrated this achievement by breathing so deeply she nearly coughed.
Really?
It had always been a long shot for her feelings to be mutual, and she couldn't be sure. But she was at least getting a strong, maybe vibe from her friend. Applejack smiled and nodded. We can at least talk about it, but not right now. It's been a long day, and you've been up since last night. How about you grab some shut-eye and we can talk a little more when you come over tomorrow for the research?
Chat, they're gonna experiment.
That sounds...
Double take.
You mean you're going to let me keep observing your flank?
Twilight, don't fumble now.
Well, yeah. I am your case study after all. Besides, what kind of pony would I be if I deprived you of such a great view? She patted her rump
She knows. She patted her rump and what?
and winked. Twilight didn't even try to fight back her blush or the laugh that followed. Applejack giggled a little as well as she got up from the bed. I'll see you tomorrow, Twilight.
Bye, Applejack.
Aw.
Twilight smiled brightly as her potentially more than a friend left her room.
Let's go.
It
The
was at
door
that
is
moment
open.
that
There
her lack of
is.
sleep finally caught up with her. She yawned for a solid 10 seconds and her eyelids turned to lead. Sinking down onto her bed, she used what little remained of her energy to flick off the lights. As Twilight drifted off to sleep, she kept her smile wide. She had no idea what tomorrow was going to be like, but for
Progress.
now, she was just glad everything had worked out.
Let's go.
Applejack was also glad everything had worked out. As she walked out of Twilight's castle, she couldn't help remembering the events of today in a new light.
Now Applejack should let this ride for like a couple of weeks. And then out of nowhere, Applejack should be like, hey, I should take pictures of your rump. Let me observe you. Well, that's not Applejack's thing. I feel like Applejack would be more forward. I feel like Applejack should just be like, hey, let me touch your flank.
Sure.
And then she could spring on she could bring up the thing that is like, hey, you've been observing my flank for like a month and a half. You should at least let me touch yours, and then it just goes from there.
It was weird to think that Twilight, a pony she had considered a friend for so long, liked her as more than that.
Let's
But
go.
that didn't ruin her memories of today. It really had been fun to spend time with Twilight, flank watching withstanding. And the way she blushed each time Applejack had made a joke about it had been kind of cute. Okay, really cute. Red was a good color on her. Maybe it wouldn't be too bad to see her in it more often.
What does that mean? What do you mean she wouldn't be like, I want to see her in more red? Huh? For science?
You know, I think I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow.
And then she dies in her sleep. Chad, don't pay me any mind. I'm drunk. All right, before we get to the credits, obviously I have to play this.
I think we could do it if we tried.
Oh, Chad. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I probably should have waited a little bit more. I don't know if anybody can hear me. I got half a Smirnoff. Also, that's not accurate. Gay ponies are not on screen. It is faded out. We have moved to the next scene. Okay, hold on, because I actually need to see the, performed and edited by... You can never get me to say... Like, I can't even say these words when I'm sober. Why the fuck do you think I would say it, or I could say it when I'm drunk? But if this is performed and edited by this person, if you are the narrator of this fic, you did a really good job. I'm not saying that because I'm under the influence. I want to make that perfectly clear. I really think you did a good job. Music by not Goody. Actually, I'm joking. David Renda. You did a good job as well. Also music by the Mountain _ Mountain. Kevin MacLeod. Okay, well, everybody knows who Kevin MacLeod is. It's a lot of... Scribbler pulled a lot of music from a lot of places. Ooh. The art was good. What am I looking at? Who is this? Oh, that's Scribbler. With all of her cats. And one dog. And another dog. She really likes animals. I assume this is when the pop-ups pop up. Oh yeah, here we go. Alright. I'm gonna have this play for a little longer. What the hell is that? Where the fuck is my other... Oh, she wants to know where her cutie mark is. Okay, chat, I'm gonna bring you back. Here's what I was looking at. Scribbler was just like pointing at her own ass and she was super angry. And she was like, where is my other thing? Where's my other cutie mark? I got so confused. I'm too drunk for this right now. I'm too lifted. I'm not like shit-faced drunk, which is perfect. But like, I'm a little lifted. Alright, back to the end stream. Ooh, that was fun. What is today? Today is the 9th. I hope everybody has a good night. Like, I assume Scribbler is going to watch this whenever she has the time to watch this. I'm still very lifted. I gotta wait until this leaves my system in the form of piss. We painted over her cutie mark. I'm glad everybody had fun. Rainbow Dash is going to be pissed, though. Why are horses so thick? They got that muscle in their ass, bro. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Scribbler looked like her cutie mark was being stolen by Starlight Glimmer. Would you be more insulted that Starlight forgot to steal your cutie mark? Or would you be more insulted that Starlight actually stole your cutie mark and the main 6 got it back? I would be more insulted that Starlight did not steal my cutie mark, because then that would mean that I'm not a character that's important enough to the story to steal the cutie mark from. Oh god, you guys are gonna make me go on a stupid ass rant. But yeah, this is funny. This is good. A little fanfic. Later on, actually, I should do that right now, actually. I should put the author of the story in the description. Holy shit, I can't believe I forgot to do that. Sometimes I get, like, worrisome, because I'm like, the thumbnail is like ObabScribbler's video, but it's not even her story. She just voiced in it, you know? But yeah, I gotta give the original author some credit. This is a really good story. I entertain the thought that Twilight and Applejack can become a couple, and I also entertain the thought that Applejack at some point will be like, okay, you've taken enough pictures of my flank, and now I'm gonna touch yours. And Twilight's like, what? And it's like, bend over, and she's like, all right. Applejack, wait, no. All right, you guys have a good one. I'm gonna go sleep this off. I don't know if I'm gonna have a hangover or what, but you guys have a good night. I'm gonna go fuck off somewhere. All right, goodbye. Have a good one.